Welcome to Salty Takeaways and Bitter Ends. This will be the last one of these for a little bit because of the international window coming up. Nick over there, John over here. We're going to discuss the 2-1 loss of Atlanta United north of the border at Stade Saputo against CF Montreal. We'll get into your tweets. We'll get into the stats. And we'll get into our thoughts as well. We'll finish up with a look at what happened with Atlanta United 2 with their salvaging of a point against Indy 11. Didn't necessarily help either of those teams, and trying to get to the fourth spot probably helped Memphis out more than anybody else when it came to chasing after OKC and that fourth spot in the Central Division. But let's just get right into it. Opening statement, Nick Leafy.
I'm going to start off with a bit of a conversation that Mike and Jason were having in the post-game show. And Mike made the comment that Montreal was the better team. And Jason pushed back and said, no, they weren't. There was Atlanta just didn't react well to the goal, and there's some challenges there, but Atlanta was the better team. I think I understand what Mike Conti was getting at.
Yeah.
And that is that Montreal was not the better team, but they were the more effective team. So that to me is the differentiator with tonight. Montreal was the more effective team. You had opportunities for Atlanta. Barco had fantastic individual play, but it went off the post. You had Sosa, who had a shot from distance. You had opportunities that didn't quite come through. You had Mulroney with a fantastic goal, and you're missing Joseph. Based on what I saw after the last game, Joseph did not look to be close to 100%. Him getting subbed out, I don't know. As of this recording, I don't know if what the particular issue was with the knee, but if it was the knee anyway. But I will say that it's looking to me like maybe it might be time to let Joseph sit out for a while, let that knee get to where it needs to be. I don't see this Atlanta United team as an MLS Cup winner. You have a puncher shot. Don't get me wrong. You have a puncher shot. Any game, somebody can win, someone can lose. But if you ask me where this team is right now, it just doesn't seem to me like we're an MLS Cup contender. I think, this is a game you had to win, in my opinion. You need help now. You're below the playoff line. You really got to do well. You need other people to do poorly. But Montreal was the more effective team. End of the day, they were the more effective team. They went CONCACAF. That's exactly what they needed to do. No one's asking them to play like Barcelona. We can critique the fact that they played in a very CONCACAF-y way, but they got the result. So, what are you really going to say about it?
All right. Well, let's see. Let's start off at the beginning, and I think that what Mike and Jason were getting into, and what you were getting into with opening statement was, I think that Atlanta United's pressure in the first 45 was responded by CF Montreal's pressure in the second 45. And yes, they ended up with basically a back line of 5, very high line, almost defending with 9 points in trying to frustrate Atlanta United. But you did see early on pressure from Atlanta United getting opportunities. And, to your point, it was, there was a penalty call that was, up in the air very, very early on. Joseph getting pressured from behind, and Sosa ended up wide. And one of the things that seems to be a recurring theme with the keeper Pantemis for Montreal is just awful distribution, and Atlanta United had early opportunities to try to take advantage of that, but they did not.
Yeah, look, Barco's individual ability, and this is something that I saw with some regularity, is that Barco could get the ball, and he really didn't have a ton of help going with him. Now, whatever the reason was, whether that was a tactical situation or the team was just so far back and Barco just had, clear lanes, so he took off and the rest of the guys couldn't get up to him as quickly. That can be debated, but you're not going to win a lot of games if the only thing you're getting is a counter of one. And so it's something where this team, I think, is, effort was there. The response was not. There were mistakes, very clear mistakes. Anton Walkes, I thought, should have had, a better read on the first Montreal goal. I thought Guzan had a second shot at stopping that one and missed. He went low and the ball just sailed over him. Those are two opportunities there. I'm not saying either one of them need to be, jettisoned into the sun as a result of it. But what I am saying is it's two opportunities where the defender should close that down a little bit better and keep that action out. Maybe force the player to drop the ball inside instead, or to slow up play a bit. But to have two Atlanta United players right there miss the chance to stop that qualifies as a great goal, but there were opportunities to stop it. But the penalty call, it was 50-50 for me. Right. I saw that, Walkes got the ball, but to me it was, the angle that he was coming from was part of the problem, that it was the reach in. Even if he got the ball based on the angle for it was, and it was backed up with VAR, so you can't really do anything about it. And Guzan picked the right way, just didn't quite get get the hand on it. But it boils down to effectiveness at this time of the year when you're fighting for playoff positioning. It's not about looking good. It's not about how well we connect here and well we connect there. And no, it's about wins. That's it. It's wins and losses. And Montreal had the number dialed up.
Looking at conference standings as we are here after the match, analyzing what's going on, New England at 65 points. They have 29 matches played, so they only have a handful left. And finally, we seem to be seeing notification from the league about the special season that New England is having, where they possibly could set a record for points in a season. That's another topic for a different show. Mm-hmm. Nashville at 46 points, Orlando at 42. Now, here's the grouping that Atlanta United fans need to be concerned about here. DC, 28 matches played, 40 points. Montreal, 28 matches played, 11 wins to DC's 12 and 40 points. NYC at 39 points with 27 matches played and 11 wins. Philadelphia with 39 points, 26 matches played, 10, 7, and 9. Atlanta right now below the playoff bar at 28 matches played and 39 points. So you have 1 point and various matches in hand separating 4 through 8 right now. New York Red Bulls and Columbus both at 34 points, 27 matches played there at number 9 and 10. Miami at 32 points right now, 26 matches played. So that's the hashtag gaggle that we're looking at right now that Nick, you were referencing when it came to how things are right now. And as Jared has said in the past, don't look at the standings in the East. You're only going to hurt your head. Yeah.
Atlanta has to start. This was a winnable game.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to get that out. It was a winnable game. And that, I think, to me, that's the most frustrating part, is that it was a winnable game. At no point was it like, 15th minute in, and we have an Alabama Ole Miss situation unfolding in front of us.
First shot on target came in the 38th when Sosa, Lennon, and Barco combined, and you had the volley by Barco that was saved by Pantemis. So 38th minute was Atlanta United's first shot on target. The next minute, when the breakneck speed started happening and the game started to get stretched, Kyoto came up with the first opportunity with Kamal Miller and Wanyama combining with him, but it was an easy save for Brad Guzan. So neither team had a shot on goal until the 38th minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the whole point with this, is that it's you had a contestable game that anybody could have walked out a winner with. It's a game that you, as Atlanta United, really needed to get, and we couldn't get it done. And it's unfortunate, but your season's not over. You cannot. This is going to be Gonzalo Pineda's. I think he's a new manager. I don't want to say it's a test, but this is a challenging moment for him because he must rally this team quickly, and this is about response. So you have a setback. How do you respond? You cannot let Montreal beat you 2 games in a row. You can't let that happen. And so you have the international break coming up. You have an opportunity, get some things right, try to, heal up some of the small injuries, the tweaks here and there that are problematic, get some of these guys, up and operational, do some more work on Joseph. My hope is to because Joseph was called up for Venezuela, correct?
And I don't think he's Ronald Hernandez was. I don't think Joseph would be even fit enough to be a beneficial to Venezuela that needs a lot of help right now when it comes to trying to get chasing a World Cup, because I think they're last in the table, so it wouldn't necessarily be beneficial for Venezuela to have a less than 100% Joseph Martinez, and for Joseph Martinez, considering what he's trying to come back from.
Right. And really that's your focus at the moment. You have to try to see if you can get Joseph healthy. You need to do some more work on his fitness and see where he is, if he's able to be at a high level, playable level without impacting his long-term well-being.
Right. And I think it's load management and pain management. I think that's where we are for the remainder of the season.
Right. But you want to be very careful right now if you're Atlanta. And look, they have one of the best sports science departments going in this. I'll say they have the best sports science department in the league. It's going to be handled, I think, well. But the key is if we can keep Joseph away from Venezuela for the international break, then that would be obviously very helpful. But as far as the salty thing here, I have issues with how Atlanta United responded after Montreal scored. I have issues with the close down. The issue with closing down with walks and the issue with the response after the Montreal goal. Those are things that are correctable. There are things that I don't think are correctable right now. I know that there were some comments on social media about, players holding the ball for too long. It's what Montreal gave you. You needed the players with the ball at their feet for, periods of time in order to try to open things up. Mm-hmm. If you don't want players with the ball at the feet for any period of time, there's plenty of Red Bull teams to choose from. Choose your own adventure.
Right.
But if you want to try to break down teams that are being CONCACAF-y, they have to have the ball at their feet. That it is. But this is a team that has injuries right now. Joseph out. Remember Emerson Hyndman? We forgot about that name. We haven't mentioned that in forever. That's somebody who, with a ball at his feet can do some damage. He's, obviously been out. But this team, I think, looks very different if it's fully healthy. Problem, this time of year, nobody's really fully healthy.
True.
So I don't know how far this team is going to go this year. But it's hard for me to be salty and angry and bitter when we have a new manager who really seems to know what the heck he's doing, but he's had some bad results. And that's one thing we said after Gabriel Heinze was, sent about his business, that the rest of this year was let the next manager come in, do whatever the heck they're going to do, and figure out who's going to be competing with this team next year and who's not. And I think that's still where we are, but we have the added bonus of we're in the fight for the playoffs, which I don't think there were too many of us who thought we would even be at the playoff line or around the playoff line around, May, right? Like April, May. There were a lot of us who were like, it's not happening, but we're here. You have a very tight East. You can get above that playoff line. You're probably not going to have a ton of home games in the process, but you have the option there. You have the opportunities there, but you got to close out games. If you get a 1-0, you go up 1-0 early, you've got to be able to possess the ball, defend correctly, close down, don't allow space in the back, and grind these games out. I hate to say it, but you got to go full Juve here, with this situation. If you have injuries and you have players who are out and you have guys who are doing their best to step up, embrace the Juve and grind out 1-0 wins. It's not cute. It's not fun. It's not pretty. It's soul crushing. It's killing, but if it gets you across the playoff,
Right.
the playoff line, are
Right.
we okay with it? I would be okay with it.
And then you get into the playoffs, make your noise there, and I think that's
Yeah.
what a lot of folks are looking at. Let's take a look at the numbers and the stats, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. And looking at your numbers, Atlanta actually posed a higher aggregate rating than Montreal did, 687 to 6.76. Brad and net a 6.5. You mentioned Anton Walks. Anton had the lowest grade of the night, a 6, with his yellow card that resulted in the penalty. Alan Franco, a 6.2. Miles, a 6.7. George Bello was a 7.1. Brooks Lennon, a 7.3. Santi Sosa, who was engaged in the play and working his way forward and creating issues for CF Montreal on the night, a 7.8. Hasetu in the middle, a 6.5. Ronald Hernandez, a 6.6. Brooks Lennon, a 7.3. Ezequiel Barco, a 7.8. Joseph Martinez, a 6.7. Then off the bench, Aruju coming in for Joseph at the break had a 7.6. We'll get into his early efforts in just a sec. Jake Mulroney, the same at a 7.3. Ibarra, Franco Ibarra. It's good to see Franco Ibarra coming back out, replacing Anton Walks for the final 20 minutes at a 6.6. And Machop Cho came in for the last minute plus for his grade of north of 6. 61% possession for Atlanta United on the night. 11 total shots, but only 3 on target. For CF Montreal, 10 total shots. Half of them were on target. Then you get into the passing numbers. Atlanta United, 530 of 596 for 89%. Long balls at 64% compared to only 13 of 36 for Montreal on the night at 36%. Crosses, 8 of 17, 47% accuracy there. Only 2 of 15 for CF Montreal on the night. Dribbles, 18 of 21 at 86%. Atlanta United won the duels at 50 out of 82, so 5 out of that's like 63% or so. Atlanta had 12 tackles to 5, 8 interceptions to 5, and CF Montreal, because of what Atlanta United was doing offensively and what CF Montreal was responding with, 13 clearances to 12 for Atlanta United. At the break, saw some substitutions, and we can get into that here in a little bit. Aruju and Jake Mulroney coming in for Joseph and Brooks Lennon. To the point that we were discussing just a sec ago, I think that really for the remainder of the season, it's going to be what is Joseph's pain load management and what's his workload management. And that's the same for everybody going forward. But
Right.
specifically when you have 3 matches in 8 days and you know that Joseph wants to play, you have to do what's best for the team in the situation. What can you give me in that third match in 8 days, and then go from there?
I'm shutting him down. If it's me, I'm shutting him down. And I know that's not what anybody wants to hear, but I'm concerned with what I saw after the last game where he scores his 100th goal, the Miami game, excuse me. And I've been baking in the sun all day, John. I've had my daughter's game.
Mm-hmm.
That I coached, and then my son wanted to go to his middle school football team. He wanted to go see their game, so we went and go did that, and been out in the sun all day. Okay, my brain's working a little slower than normal. What I saw from Joseph when he was walking off the field in the Miami game, I didn't like any of that one bit. The way that his gait, the way that he was gingerly walking, that knee still has problems, and I have to balance. I know we're talking about a season and we're looking at this and we're looking, okay, can we go across the playoff line? There is enough talent on this team without Joseph Martinez in the lineup to get across the playoff line. There is. And I will take the Pepsi challenge with anyone who wants to debate that. I think what's missing when Joseph is not on the field, outside of his situational awareness, is his fire, the fire that he brings and injects into this team. That's something that the coaching staff can look for and kind of guide other players to be those spark plugs whenever Joseph isn't in. That's something that is going to have to come from internally, though.
Right.
It's not a new signing. It wouldn't do it, even though the window's closed. But there's nothing outside of someone stepping up and saying, "Okay, I'm going to be the fiery person When we go down a goal, I'm the one who's at the half line, screaming, yelling, clapping, let's go, let's go. That needs to come that comes from inside the team, and someone needs to step up and do that. Joseph, his ability to drop into play and distribute the ball effectively, he is exceptional at that. You have other players who can do that. Finishing in front of the net is really where the problem is.
Yes.
And you have, I think, Araujo can be that guy who can do that. You have other players who can step up around him and get involved, and you can run him up top for the time being, in my opinion, and have someone up there who doesn't mind that really audacious attempt on goal. I think that's something you can run with. But I have to look at Joseph Martinez long term. No one wants him to be done with the game.
Right.
No one wants him to re-injure the knee. No one wants him to have any setbacks, which one would have, would derail the rest of your season anyway, and two, put you in a position where the start of next season is now delayed. I don't want any of that. The best thing you could do now, shut it down, re-examine the knee, let him engage in long-form rehab where he has opportunities to re-strengthen the knee. If they have to go through and things up, they can go in and clean things up. Let him rebuild the confidence on it and just go. Because if you say, hey, look, it's pain management, Joseph, are you hurting too much to play?
I know that Joseph's going to sit there and say no, but
yeah. He's going to say no.
But I think this is where the physios and their data come into play here to give you your empirical evidence to back up the theory from either side.
Right, correct. But if it's me and I'm Darren, I would say, sports science guys, how much is he giving us right now? Here's the data. We're shutting him down. If it's anything less than like 80, we're shutting him down. Just because I have to look at a long-term investment here, not just this year. We have a new manager. Everyone's excited. That's great. But, next year is really Gonzalo Pineda's year. This right here, this is still triage season. Whether we like it or not, we had great results in the beginning. Everybody was excited, enthusiastic. I'm still excited and enthusiastic, but it's still triage year. Shut it down and let's get to wherever we get with the squad that we have. I think we have the talent to do it, to get across the line. I don't think this is an MLS Cup winning side. I think New England looks every bit of that and more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
true. Yeah.
If you have a juggernaut in this situation up top, let's protect our guy and call it good.
Luis Araujo came in with Jake at the half, and here's Araujo's numbers in 45 minutes of action. Okay. 4 of 4 on dribbles, 25 touches, 14 of 16 in accurate passes, which clocks in at 88%. One key pass, and that was the one that led to the goal with Jake Mulroney in the 48th minute. It was an absolute piece of beauty, but it wasn't the only one that he created on the night. 1 of 2 in the long balls, 1 big chance created. 5 of 6 duels won on the ground, 1 foul and was fouled once himself. And so we got to see once again what Luis Araujo can bring to the table to give you the goal in the 48th minute. But once again, to your point that you made, the tight angle shot by Romel Kyoto. And this was the previous point that I was going to make. You mentioned how Atlanta responded when they were tied at 1 or even down to 1, when you knew at that point that Montreal was going to make it difficult for you and basically playing as many folks behind the ball as humanly possible. Mm-hmm. But once again, it's how you respond with a lead and not giving up the lead, I think, is just as important when you're looking at analysis in these situations.
Absolutely.
Because it was the first possession CF Montreal had after going down 1-0 that they come back down and score with Kyoto going short side on Brad Gazan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, it's all the good news here, and I know it's supposed to be salty takeaways, and people get mad when we try to look at the positive side of this. It's not like you were completely bereft of talent trying to get across the playoff line. It's coaching. Anton Walk's closing down in that key situation. That's a coaching moment. They're going to go and they're going to look at tape. Anton, we should really start your break now. You should really try to push him here, go here. It looked like you were rushing to play catch up and he had just enough of an angle to put the ball over Brad. That's coaching. Brad, you went low. I understand you're trying, but in this situation, maybe we go high instead. Let Anton try to block the low stuff. You go high. And if he puts the ball between both of your legs and you guys both end up on Sports Center, then man, sometimes that's the way the game goes. And I'm sure that they're I'm sure Jess is like feverishly dialing up right now. That's not what a keeper needs to do.
Hashtag GK Union, yeah, with Jess. No
Hashtag GK Union. But everything to me in this situation is coachable. The mistakes that killed you in this game can be coached away, especially with an international break coming up. You're not in a terrible position, but it's a game. It was a winnable game, and it got away, and that sucks. It is what it is. If we're not 15 points out of the under the playoff line, we're not 8 points under the playoff line. We're very close to getting in. One or two teams drop off. Things go your way. You're back in it. So I'm not panicked, but I am frustrated. But I'm not panicked. Let me be extraordinarily clear here.
All right, let's wrap up the coverage of Atlanta United by going through Twitter and what folks were saying about the match against CF Montreal. Cuppers is salty. Basically says, I'm salty with an exclamation point. That was all he submitted. So there you go. So Cuppers is salty about the match.
Yeah, no, I agree. Thank you.
David, at Who Took My Thrash, just not enough in the end. Needed to find a few more ways to get shots through. Montreal seemed to clog the middle after the half and shut down Barco. They showed some fun moments in attack again. And this is what you were getting at here in the first 15 minutes of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well made point. Agreed. Next comment.
Snack dog. Boo.
I'm not gonna, okay. I understand the boo. I do. I understand the boo. Like I said, winnable game you lost. Boo.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But yeah, I just want to make sure. Who was this that said this one? Was this Salty Dog?
Snack Dog.
Snack Dog.
SNAKDAWG. Snack Dog.
Snack Dog. All right. So yeah. Okay. All right. I respect your boo. I respect your booster. Though I may disagree with elements of your boo, I will fight to the death to defend your right to say boo.
Also on the board, Waffle, FC Waffle mentioned Anton Walks. He said Anton Walks had a howler. That was his salty takeaway. We got into the Anton Walks discussion. J. Jason Joyner says MLS officiating is a joke.
Well, we've known this. I do want to know which. If you're there are a couple key moments I think that would have been ripe for discussion. One is the Walks penalty for sure.
Yes.
To me, and I am defender union, right? Jess is goalkeeper union. I am defender.
You're the next level out.
Right. I'm the next level out. I believe in Italy 1984.
Stout defending, hard tackles, reminding people who's the boss.
Exactly.
Mejoras patatas without getting the cards.
Yes, if the pretty boys want to come down and shoot pretty goals, we're going to make them pay for it. That's my general view on life, and I'm very petty. And defenders by nature are very petty people. To me, the Walks it was close enough where I kind of nodded and said, yeah, okay, yeah, with the penalty.
Yeah.
The angle is the key. Half of the times when a defender comes in and cleans someone out, the angle is the key. And when you have the reach in. And you have the reach in, the pulling action, and the sliding and getting the ball. The pulling action alone for some refs is enough to get the call for a penalty. The sweeping in action is enough to solidify it. The angle is enough to make it concrete. And I think you had all three of those that worked against him in that situation. If you're talking about the Bello penalty no call, to me, it looked like the contact came and was initiated outside of the box. And Bello did the great thing and fell into the penalty area and then, looked up like, okay, where's my call?
Right.
I thought that was actually a pretty good call by the officials. If I'm going to give a ton of grief to pro refs, I have to give positive commentary when I see it. I thought that was a good call. If I'm looking at it objectively, it was a good no call. That's why I think why they VAR went to go look at it and was like, no, it's outside the box. We can't do anything about it. Have a great day. And that's why play continued. So, yes, in my general yearly review of pro, yes, MLS refs stink. But in this game, I didn't think it was extraordinarily terrible.
Last one on the board comes in the form of a GIF, and it's Nickajack 88 with the old GIF of the HBC from his time. And I'm trying to see where the golf shirt is from, and it might be from South Carolina, where the HBC just looks up in the air and he goes. So that was pretty much that's the thoughts from that Nickajack 88. So frustration across the board, understandably so. So that was what folks were discussing tonight on the Twitter as they brought him in here for salty takeaways. Mm-hmm. But to David's point, just not enough in the end. Find more ways to get shots. But once again, when you have in the second half, and especially when you are tied at 1 and then you get the lead 2-1, 3 goals in 7 minutes. When you end up with a line of 5, a very high line, you pack in 4 more. And I don't know if CFL rules could have applied since they were playing in Montreal, and they could have played with 12 and packed as many as 12 back there for an 11-man game. So, no, they made it as frustrating as possible for Atlanta United to try to get things done, and the bulk of possession was there. They just couldn't find a way to get any kind of an equalizer when they were down 2-1.
Yep, agree with it. I agree with it. But I stand by my remarks of, it's time to consider shutting Joseph down for the season. He's too valuable to the team long term. He's too valuable. His playing career. He's got I think he has a potentially several more years of high quality play. Don't put any of it at risk for this season where you had a coaching change and you had so much up in the air, and it's, every point is life and death. Don't burn any of his future years on the risk of this year. To me, it's not worth it. And if people disagree, and I await your hate mail, but sometimes we have to look out for the long-term interest of the player. So that's just my 2 cents. But again, they may have held him out and just said, look, man, he ate some bad airplane food and he spent the last half in the toilet. I don't know. But, I'm putting 2 and 2 together from the Miami game. He went out and he gave it the old college try in the first half and was just like, no, I'm good. So, we'll see what goes on. But hopefully he's doing well and we'll take next steps. But we appreciate, as always, your comments. Even if you disagree.
Yes.
I appreciate it. And I know John does, and Jason does, and Jarrett and Jess, and everybody else, and Kelly and all of it. Everyone associated with the SDH universe, we all appreciate it. Because without you guys, we're just kind of like screaming into a microphone. We'd probably still do it, but
yes,
we'd probably still do it, but it's just infinitely more fun when you guys are a part of it.
And we will discuss it on an Overreaction Monday. SDH will be on at 9 a.m. Don't forget to download the Soccer Down Here app, available iOS and Android. If you have not already, soccerdownhere.net. You can click through and listen to us on the website. Soccer Over There, where there's been a lot of stuff going on over there this weekend as we get ready for international break as well. And we'll discuss that Monday night as well with the Garlic Bread
I will not
Warlord.
be part of that.
Oh, that is true. That is right. You have a previous appointment.
I have a previous appointment with a gentleman and a scalpel. I'm going to be under the knife on Monday. So I'm going to be way too drugged up. You guys wouldn't want me drugged up on Soccer Over There.
Oh, no.
No. Hey, Juve. I heard what you said about my mother. Come to your house, Juve. You don't want that. Just trust me.
Well,
you don't want
what will happen, though, is you have to be around for picks. So you might have to be around for the final half hour to make your selections, though.
Oh, man. All right. I'll have to have someone bring the computer to me, and I'm just going to have to, I'll be laying in bed, not moving.
There you go.
Bring the computer and set it up and let me shout into a microphone.
There you go. And that would be actually pretty funny. That'd make for great radio. So he's Nick. I'm John. That's Salty Takeaways and Bitter Ends for the 2-1 loss. Oh, Atlanta United, once again, 2 Had a great salvaging of a point at the death. I would recommend going on your favorite social media platform, watching the goal at 90+4 from Aiden McFadden as they were trying to get a point out of Indy at the mic, and they did. But once again, that probably helps Memphis 901 more than anybody. Laurent Kissiadou launched one from about 40, caught the keeper off his line. So keep an eye on that one as well, possibly for goal of the week considerations, and maybe even appearing on the 4-letter for their top 10 plays. So great point salvaged by the twos as they are chasing after the 4 spot, but they are 4 points back with 4 matches to go, the handful of matches to go, but a great result as they finish October on the road chasing the playoffs in the USL Championship. So for Nick, I'm John. Played safe, everybody. We'll catch up with you on Monday.